Thank you. Yeah. Welcome to this place, it works, of peace, justice, and hope. In this Unitarian Universalist congregation, we affirm no matter who you are, who you love, or where you are in your journey, you are welcome here. For those of you joining us online, we are so glad you are with us. And hi, John. If you are visiting with us today, we invite you to sign our visitor's book, which is at the desk in the living room. And if you would like to join us for coffee downstairs, be sure you pick up a green mug so we know who you are. Also, if you don't have a name tag, please meet the person at the desk and get a name tag, which I have to do. I don't know where mine is. I am Anita Jenks, and my pronouns are she and her, and I'm pleased to be with you this morning as your worship associate. Our music today is provided by Jamie Passman. Alex is doing our tech, and thank you, the Haas family and your hospitality team, for helping us today. Please place your phones on worship mode, but please feel free to check in on social media and let folks know you are here worshiping today. There's always a lot going on in church, and you can read all about it in the news and notes that come out in your inbox every Friday. And there are also printed copies downstairs, I hope. I checked downstairs this morning. There are? Okay. Okay, which is the buffet, right? Yes. Okay. All right. Any announcements?
Thank you so much. Thank you, Anita, and welcome to all of you. You made it. We made it. We survived losing an hour, and here we are, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Right. Might be somewhat of an exaggeration. I'm the Reverend Dr. Beth Johnson. My pronouns are she, they, and it is good to be with you this morning. I'd like to just begin our time by acknowledging that we in the western suburbs inhabit areas that are the traditional territories of indigenous people, including the Kickapoo, Peoria, Potawatomi, and others. As we try to live into a more just world, we have a responsibility to acknowledge the history and legacy of colonialism, the harm done to Native peoples, and also to work to repair that harm. Because as we do that, as we consider what it might be for us to live into the prophetic possibilities of Unitarian Universalism, to address harm, to nurture spirits, and to help heal our world. This month, our theme is the theme of transformation. So we're exploring transformation of our faith in this service. Next week, we're going to experience the transformation of spring. And we're going to consider what is ours to do, and how can we indeed build a new way in which all peoples are safe and free and known and held and heard to the extent that's possible, to build a more just, a more peaceful, and a more beautiful world. And in that spirit, I invite you to rise, embody your spirit, and let's sing together. We are building a new way, y'all. That's it. Can I get an amen? We're done. Because what else is there to do? We'll build a new way, get stronger, work to be free, feed our needs, everybody's needs, and then have peace and freedom. Invite us into worship this morning, though, because you know there are more words. By Reverend Kim Mason. Once upon a time, chemists believed they could transform lead into gold or death into life. We laugh. But are we not also in the business of alchemy, turning loneliness into connection, pain into comfort, faith into action? The subtle magic of church, combines love with justice, creates hope out of fear, transforms individuals into community. Here, we engage in a holy alchemy, finding beauty in the ordinary and life in the present. Come, let us be transformed together. It is good to be together.
It is here together where we can support one another in our quest to find meaning in our lives. It is here where we can ask the difficult questions. It is here where what is can be imagined into what can be. May we know once again that we are not isolated beings, but connected in mystery and miracle to the universe, to this community, and to each other. Please join me in saying our chalice words. In the light of truth and the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, and to share.
Time for all ages. So if you are young or young at heart, come closer because it's going to be really great. Right here, right here, right here, right here. Okay, so we are Unitarian Universalists, and those are big words. And sometimes it's hard for us to even know what that means, right? And what we believe is kind of hard to put into words. But one thing that we do believe that's kind of easy to remember is that we believe that we never stop learning and changing and growing. And that's what keeps our faith growing, is making sure that, like all living things, we keep changing. And that's why sometimes the grown-ups call this a living tradition. And that means that anything that's living will be growing and changing, like our bodies and our minds and our spirits. Now, for a really long time, we've relied on our 7 principles to help us know what to believe and how to guide us as you use. Do you remember from Spirit Play our promises? Yeah, those are principles, like our promises. Can you remember any of them? To put you on the spot. My 21-year-old daughter who got home from college last night couldn't remember any. She did once, I said, remember the rainbow? And we made each of the promises a color of the rainbow. Like red is for an R word, respect. So we use the rainbow to help us remember what those principal promises are. Do you know how many colors in the rainbow there are? 7, good job. So there were 7 colors and 7 principles or promises. Well, lots of UUs all over the country started thinking that there might be more promises that we should be making. And the more promises there could be, the better we could live out into the world. And so we were reminding everybody that we're a living tradition, that we could be thinking about things differently. Instead of just adding principles, pretty soon we'd have 5,000. That would be too many to remember. So a whole bunch of UUs got together and they said, let's think about this differently. Let's think about the values that are important to us. And so instead of having rainbow principles to guide us, we're going to start thinking about values that will lead us to be the best people that we can be out in the world. That sounds good, right? Okay, so here are the values. Ready? Justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity. Got it? Okay, can you repeat them back? Okay. Those are big words and hard to remember, right? So I brought a special friend today to help us remember. Want to meet them? Okay, hold on. Are you ready? They're kind of shy. Can you say, come out, special friend?
Come out, special friend. Come out.
This is my special friend. This is Jetpig. Jetpig, look, he's got a jetpack and everything. Now, Jetpig is going to help us remember those values. And there's special reminders in Jetpig's jetpack. Want to see what's in there? Okay. All right, want to get something out? Okay.
It's a giant a present that
Okay.
right now. I'm opening it. I open it.
Yeah, there's nothing in there. It's just the box. There's 2 things left. Okay. Now we're going to have a spelling lesson. I know. I know. They just went, oh. Okay. So this is jet pig. So the word jet. How do you spell that? J-E-T. Right. So J is for justice. Here, Reverend Beth, symbol for justice. It helps us remember to be fair to all people and to vote for the things that are important to us. Here you go, Jetty. Okay. All right, then we have E, for equity. And I think, Christina, you have equity. Can you bring that up? I don't think you can see this, but we've used this picture in RE. It's 3 kids that are trying to see over a fence at a baseball game. And the tallest boy doesn't need a box, and the medium-sized boy needs 1 box, and the littlest boy needs 2 boxes to see over the fence. And so that shows that we believe that everyone has the right to be happy and have what they need in our church and in life. All right, jet. What's the last letter? T. And T is for transformation. And Miss Anita has a butterfly. Who knows about a butterfly's life? Tell us. Yep. It's a caterpillar, and then it eats a bunch of leaves, and then it makes a miraculous transformation in a chrysalis, and it turns into a butterfly. Well, yes, but it's also a grand transformation. Right. We want to remember that we're always changing and growing and learning. All right, so that's jet, J-E-T. Now we need pig. How do you spell pig? P-I-G. P-I-G. Good job. All right, so the P stands for pluralism. And that's a big word, a fancy way of saying that we learn from lots of different places. We can learn from different religions and different people and from the experiences of others. So here we have a chalice with all sorts of world religion symbols and earth symbols and people symbols, and that just stands for learning from others. All right, P-I. What makes the I sound? I, right. So I stands for interdependence. And for that, we have this earth. Tiny earth in my hands. And this will remind us that all people and animals and plants, all things are connected, and that we should care for the great web of life. Last thing, G for generosity. Oh, what'd you put in there? A shoe? Oh, a cue. Oh, cute. Can I leave it in there, or do you want it back? Okay. Well, yeah, it was kind of not generous of me to give him an empty box. That's not very generous, but this symbol of a gift will remind us that being generous means that you share good things with others. So there are all of our values that we're going to be exploring and talking about and voting on. So can you guys come up and put all the values back in Jet Pig's backpack? Oh, do you want to leave them out? Okay. Reverend Beth says leave them out.
Unless you need them.
I don't think I will. Okay. Now, we have a problem. Jet Pig has a problem. They can't blast off in the world and share their values without some fuel. What? Do you have any fuel? Do you have any gasoline with you? Jet fuel in your pocket? Yeah, I don't know. What do you think? What do you think could fuel Jet Pig's jetpack? Oh, well, yeah, that could work. But you know what else I think could work? Love. Don't you think love is just such a great energy to make things go? So here, pass these out. We're going to fuel up Jet Pig's jetpack.
Okay, just
Well, give it to the kids first. And then if there's any grown-ups. What in the world?
you want to do it. I do.
All right, does anybody want a heart to fuel up this jetpack? All right, there's a special place with the heart. All right, put it in there. Fuel them up more. Fuel them up.
I need to put one more thing in. Just to
Okay.
You've got blood all over your shirt.
They're all fueled up with love and ready. Oh, got Mark roll over there. All right, are you ready to blast him off? 3. We're gonna blast him off so he can share his values out in the world. Ready? 1, 3, 2, 1. Here goes.
Blast off!
As a member of this church for many years, I've experienced many changes, not only from the ministry of several ministers, but also from many former and present members of UCH who have brought us to this very successful point in time. As I've observed over the years, our members continue to devote their time and energy not only to our church, but also to programs, projects, and organizations around the community. We are definitely living our values. Today, the collection will go to the UU Prison Ministry of Illinois and to its many programs that are focused on improving the prison system as well as the lives of the prisoners. Please join me in saying these offertory words. The church is made up of all of us. It is what we learn together, the work we do together, the fun we have together. It is what we share with one another, with the people around us, and with all the world. Thank you.
I kind of didn't want you to stop. I loved Jet Pig. I love the idea of transformation, even if it can be scary. I invite you into a meditation, reflection, words on transformation by the late Danon Perry, turning the fear of transformation into the transformation of fear. Sometimes I feel that my life is a series of trapeze swings. I'm either hanging onto the trapeze bar, swinging along, or for a few moments in my life, I'm hurtling across space in between trapeze bars. Most of the time, I spend my life hanging on for dear life to my trapeze bar of the moment. It carries me along at a steady rate of swing, and I have the feeling that I'm in control of my life. I know most of the right questions, and even some of the answers. But every once in a while, I am merrily, or even not so merrily swinging along. I look out ahead of me into the distance, and what do I see? I see another trapeze bar swinging toward me. It is empty, and I know in that place in me that knows that this new trapeze bar has my name on it. It is my next step, my growth, my aliveness coming to get me. In my heart of hearts, I know that for me to grow, I must release my grip on this present, well-known bar and move to the new one. Each time it happens to me, I hope, no, I pray, that I won't have to let go of my old bar completely before I grab the new one. But in my knowing place, I know that I must totally release my grasp on the old bar. For some moment in time, I must hurtle across space before I can grab on to the new bar. Each time, I'm filled with terror. It doesn't matter than all my previous hurdles across the void of unknowing, I've always made it. I'm each time afraid that I will miss, that I will be crushed on unseen rocks in the bottomless chasm between the bars. I do it anyway. Perhaps this is the essence of what the mystics call the faith experience. Perhaps there are no guarantees, no net, no insurance policy, but you do it anyway because you know somehow to keep hanging on to that old bar is no longer on the list of alternatives. So for an eternity that can last a microsecond or 1,000 lifetimes, I soar across the dark void of the past is gone, the future is not yet here. It's called transition. I've come to believe that this transition is the only place that real change occurs. I mean real change. Not the pseudo change that only lasts until the next time my old buttons get punched. I've noticed that in our culture, this transition zone is looked upon as a no thing, a no place between places. Sure, the old trapeze bar was real, and that new one coming towards me, I hope that's real too. But the void in between, is that just as scary, confusing, disorienting, nowhere that must be gotten through as fast and as unconsciously as possible? No. What a wasted opportunity that would be. I have a sneaking suspicion that the transition zone is the only real thing, and the bars are illusions we dream up in order to avoid the void where the real change, the real growth occurs for us. Whether or not my hunch is true, it remains that the transition zones in our lives are incredibly rich places. They should be honored, even savored. Yes, with all the pain and the fear and the feelings of being out of control that can but not necessarily accompany transitions. They are still the most alive, most growth-filled, passionate, expressive moments of our lives. We cannot discover new oceans unless we have the courage to lose sight of the shore. So transformation of fear may have nothing to do with making fear go away, but rather giving ourselves permission to hang out in the transition between trapezes, transforming our need to grab that new bar, any bar, is allowing ourselves to dwell in the only place where change really happens. It can be terrifying. It can also be enlightening in the true sense of the word. Hurtling through the void, we may just learn how to fly. Sing with me. Spirit of life, come unto me, sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion, low and rise in the sea,
The reading today is a letter from the UUA, from Unitarian Universalism. But before I read it, I'm going to do a little testimonial. So bear with me. 57 years ago, Paul and I got married, and I said, we've got to go to the Unitarian Church. When I was at Iowa City, I started attending the Unitarian Church. So I finally got him to come with me one summer Sunday. And we got there, and on the door was a sign. It said, "Church closed for the summer." And Paul said, "That's my church." Years ago, the Unitarian churches used to close during the summertime. And now we have our summer services outdoors, sometimes during the summertime, and they're lovely, really. Over the years, we joined the church. We started coming in the early 60s, but didn't join this church until the 1967. And since then, we've seen many, many changes. We've also held positions here at the church. On the board, we've been to UU Camp for 50 years straight. I've been president of UU Camp when they've had attendance of 600. We've done fundraising. My husband and a member of our church, Elise Cade, used to do district fundraising and finance workshops with the churches in the district. So, and recently, well, not recently, about 20 years ago, we joined the Chautauqua Institution Fellowship, which is held during the summer. So we're a member there, too. I'm telling you all this because Unitarian Universalism is in our DNA and in our kids' DNA too. They have friends of 50 years plus that still are in contact with them. When my husband stopped driving and friends realized we couldn't drive down to see them, their daughter and her husband came here from California. They came up, 4 of them came up from Cincinnati, and we had a reunion. This is after 50 years. So you can see why we are still here in the church. It has meant so much to our family. With the change that's might come in June with the vote, we are going to see what happens. And we are going to stand by what happens because of the years that this church has given to us. We look to the future. We have a great-grandson. And I want to see the kind of world that we know is viable for his generation. We look to the future that abounds in love and acceptance, and that is livable for all living creatures. We cannot let them down. I have this letter here as the reading, and it's from, at first when I scanned it, I said, who is this woman? I thought, and I had just come off after reading something, going to a lecture on narcissism, and it is not from a woman. It's from the Unitarian Universalist denomination.
Actually, it's from a religious educator.
Right, it's the words are written by Paula Gribble. Good. She is Lifespan Religious Education Director of the UUA. Good, Carol. And it starts like this. To my dearest UUs, I am writing to you all today full of emotions, both worry and hope. So many things in the world have changed over the past years, and so have I. We look at the weary world and wonder, what good can we still do? We see the pain and systematic hate perpetuated on our planet, sometimes against our planet, and feel disheartened. What can we do? But I am Unitarian Universalism, and I say to you that we have done good, that we can do good, and in some cases we might be the only people who can. But in order for you all to use my larger light, we must gather our individual lights together and let go of hiding them under our own personal bushel. I know I am changing, and that is scary. I know I'm using different words and sentences to say who I am, and that is scary. But we are the people of change, of looking to the future of our world and what new work we must do. We are at the forefront of civil rights, of women's rights, environmental rights. I know it is hard to see some of those things being tamped down after we worked so hard. But just like everything in the world, we must change with the changing times. Certainly the world was a different place in 1961 when we became Unitarian Universalism. We had different words to describe our purpose and identity then, and over time we have shifted and changed, reviewed and revised. Please, dear UUs, love me not only for who I have been, but also for who I am today. If you do, you are not turning your back on the past. We have made great strides together, and with your commitment and support, I, Unitarian Universalism, have learned and grown. Won't you continue to learn and grow with me? I am a living tradition, one that continues to change, grow, build, and rebuild. It's one of the key things that UUism offers that other faith traditions may not. We are not stuck in the words of yesteryear. We are not held accountable for long-lost prophets, tied down by a creed or bound to one ancient text. We are accountable for our actions and set free with our beliefs and bound by humanity and love. The great James Luther Adams, sometimes called father of liberal religion, said this, quote, "Religious liberalism depends on the principle that revelation is continuous. Unquote. Our religious tradition is a living tradition because we are always learning new truths. So I ask you again, dear UUs, will you love me not only for who I have been, but also for who I am today? And truly, not just who I am today, but who I may become. I will keep on changing, hopefully becoming more and more true to myself and the principles and values I espouse. I hope you will join me. I hope you can see me. I hope my light is guiding your way, and I ask once more, can you love me not only for who I have been, but also for who I am today? Let's let go. Let's let go. Let's grow on. Together, we can do it. So our theme today is transformation. I have a book that I keep by the side of my bed, and every now and then I'll open it up before I go to bed and read one page. It's not the Bible. It's this book called The Book of Awakening by Mark Nepo, whom I met at Chautauqua last summer. And what I do at night is just open it to a page and I'll read that one page. It's a book of his meditations and thoughts. Friday night I got into bed, you won't believe it, and I opened this book and I looked down. It was his saying on transformation. And I thought I'd like to read it to you. Often we are being transformed. We cannot tell what is happening. For while in the midst of staying afloat, it is next to impossible to see the ocean we are being carried into. While struggling with the pain of change, it is often impossible to see the new self we are becoming. While feeling our hands pried loose by experience, we seldom can imagine what will fill it once it is open. As the days rinse our heart, we can feel something unseeable scour through us, though we can't yet imagine how much fresher milk and sky and laughter will taste once we are returned to the feel of being new. Thank you.
Thank you, Anita. It was an absolute pleasure and joy, Anita, to plan this service with you. To learn about your journey, to see the richness that you bring to this church and to our faith. It's been fun. I look forward to more collaboration and to learning from you and to having more insight into your wisdom and into all that you bring to us. So we're on a journey, y'all. For those of you who are visiting or maybe new, we've been exploring changes that are occurring within the Unitarian Universalist Association. You heard Pam Fodor, our Director of Programs, do a great job of explaining to our children that we are going to be exploring to look at how we articulate our values differently than the 7 principles. And if you, in anticipation of visiting a UU congregation, most people check the website first, either ours or the UUA website, and the principles are there, and there's 7 of them, as you heard. And we're in a process of deep exploration that's been taking place across the denomination for the past 3 or 4 years, and we're in the process now of voting on whether or not we're going to make these changes. And I have to mention this every time that I am a polity geek, so it's in our bylaws. Our values are in our bylaws, right? Our values are what state who we are and our promise to live into those values. And so that's the exploration that we're having. Over the course of the past few months and in the coming months, we will have explored each of the values in every service. And so transformation, you heard from, from Jet Pig, and from Mark Nepo, and from Danon Perry, and from Anita, and from me, is the value that we're exploring. And it can be scary to go to new places, to let go of that trapeze bar, because we may be going, we're not quite sure just where we're going, but we do know within where we're going. And I'm going to invite us to embody that journey for a moment. Invite us to sing Wo Ya Ya, which was written by an Afro-pop band of Sabisa, and the drummer Saul Amarafio. And the song is Wo Ya Ya, and it means we keep going. It's not we are going, it's we keep going. If you want to look at your hymnal, it's number 1020 in the teal hymnal. But I'm going to invite you to rise, embody your spirit, and let's sing together. Do you believe it? Do you believe that we'll get there? Do you believe that it can be hard and the road is muddy and rough? We've got multiple metaphors going on here. We've got trapeze, we've got muddy and rough roads, and that is life. That is life. And we all have our personal journeys. One of the things that I love about church is hearing about people's journey, their spiritual journey. Our new UU class 2 weeks ago, we heard some people's stories about how they came to this place, and to this place of exploration and in a community that we are able to fully embrace who we are now, and also to be able to change as our lives change, as our insights into the world changes. We are a transforming faith. We've come to understand how this tradition has transformed over the years, and we've talked about that several weeks in a row. A transforming faith invites us to transform ourselves and our congregations. I don't believe that the sole purpose of faith is to simply make ourselves comfortable as we navigate the joys and sorrows of our lives, although it is good if it does that. Our faith should invite us and challenge us, push us and pull us fully into the beauty and, yes, even the horror of the world, and help us craft tools, the community, the wisdom, the radical love, the fierce compassion, and the eyes wide open hope in order to create that more just, loving, and liberating world. Unitarians, Universalists, and Unitarian Universalists have always understood this, and we have been on the forefront for every movement for justice. We believe in collective transformation. We examine how we've been complicit in systems of oppression by virtue of our origins as a predominantly white institution that struggles with sexism and racism, issues of class and privilege. We began years ago, and many of you remember, do you remember the journey toward wholeness? It's a process that invited us, and we continue to renew our mandate to look at how Unitarian Universalism reflects white culture, out of which it had emerged, and to discern how we can dismantle the systems of oppression in which we are embedded. Our faith is transforming, as it should. We're transforming those structures that are systemic and internal, that do not serve the higher love, that do not serve us as we travel on this journey of love and hope, to embody the justice that love calls us to. Our faith calls us to challenge those powers and principalities of oppression and greed that would thwart life. And it also invites us, even though it can be challenging, to transform our own selves, even to engage in and be open to new learnings, new insights, new ways of being, and allow us to, and we do that collectively. You lost an hour of sleep last night. Some colleagues were speculating, would there be more views on YouTube and online this morning because people wanted to go to church in their pajamas? Well, I want to tell you this, first of all. If you wanted to come to church in your pajamas, you could have done that. But you came. You come to this place, and people are exploring membership in a congregation because of the collective nature of our own spiritual journeys and our own spiritual paths. Whether you come in when it starts and leave when it's over, and don't go take a green mug or socialize, we've still been here together in this place of community, a container that holds us each in the multiplicity of who we are, and then gives us the power of the promise of living this faith out loud and in the world. We had Jet Pig. We have a flower. Love is always at the center, y'all. There's still some hearts there. And by the way, do you know that those are heart magnets? So if you want a heart and you want to put a magnet on your fridge or wherever to remind us that no matter who we are, where we go, what we do, we are grounded, called, pulled, what we in process theology would call the lure of love, or the lure of God, the holy, that which calls us to more love, more hope, more possibility. We adapt to a changing world is what this value states. We covenant to collectively transform and grow spiritually and ethically. Openness to change is fundamental to our Unitarian Universalist heritages. Never complete, never perfect. This is how the value is articulated in the new Article 2 proposition. I don't know about you, but I think transformation is hard. It's not usually a walk in the park. And by the way, my word, which I choose each year at the winter solstice, is transformation. So I've just been sitting with that a bit. It is uncomfortable and challenging, ultimately necessary, and I would even say redemptive. Y'all, we will make mistakes, and we will do beautiful things. We are going. Heaven knows where we are going, but we know within. Now that does not necessarily mean we are wandering in the wilderness, although we do have wilderness moments, do we not, in our lives? How I read this song is that as we live toward an open future. We don't know just what the future brings, but there's a knower and a knowing within that we allow to guide us. In these times, when pernicious articulations of faith that are exclusive and stagnant, repressive and death-dealing, we look to our progressive, our prophetic faith, in which we will bend the moral arc of the universe towards justice. This is a transforming faith to build a new way with our fire of commitment. I invite you to join me in our chalice extinguishing words, which I believe I did not put on these slides. So I'm going to say them and you can repeat after me. We extinguish this flame at the light of truth, the warmth of this community, nor the fire of our commitment. These we carry in our hearts and share with all the world. That was good. That was really good. And I actually have a feeling they may be a little bit later on in the slide deck. But the thing that's beautiful about that is, and if you're new and you didn't know the words, still allow them to resonate with us. It just simply says that we put out this candle, this flame, the symbol of Unitarian Universalism, but our work's not done. Because that light that Pam talked about and that Unitarian Universalism mentioned in their letter to us, we take that light out into the world, y'all. We got a light, and we do need to let it shine. The world can be dark. It can be scary in our personal lives and out in that world. But y'all, that light, we take it out. It is the fire of our commitment. I invite you to rise and bow to your spirit and sing with me. I did have them. I did have them. Though this service has ended, our service to the world begins.
Song that she started singing a cappella. You had to find the key.
It's one I should know, but I'm like, oh, what key is she?
Did you have music for it?